Peace and blessings, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to Royalty. Welcome to a solo edition of Royalty. I know last session it was really full. Four queens in the house, really representing and giving energy to the entire conversation of queen things. Today, you got just me. Today's topic is fast food, fast death. I think um, I think we all should recognize that by now. The foods that we eat have a significant impact on our bodies as human beings, and we are what we eat. And in many ways, that's very true. So I invite you to come in, get comfortable with me today. It's going to be hopefully an interactive session. I'm really hoping that there will be contributions made on Zoom and also on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, well, where should I begin? When we think about fast food, I know a lot of times it has become so much a part of our culture now that we just think about when we hear fast food, a lot of us associate it with food, or I should say dinner, or perhaps lunch and that type of thing. But today we're going to delve a little deep into the topic of fast food, what it is, and the impact that it has on the body. Okay, so for me, if you're really and truly, I don't like to use the words fast food because the truth is healthy food is really fast food as well. Yes, to prepare a full course, cooking at home is absolutely better than buying your foods out. And so there is, hi Saran, how are you? There is the notion that cooking healthy food takes a long time, or it's an investment in terms of your time. However, eating fruits, it doesn't get faster than that. It's literally there for us to have instantly. And for that reason, I look at fast food, as we call it, as engineered food. So if I refer to it as engineered food, don't take it personal, but that's really what I think it is. There is, we have normalized fast food, the words fast food, so much so that we're no longer cognizant of the fact that these foods have a significant part to play in the way our body functions or not, you know. And like I said, I just want to invite everybody to contribute to it. It's a topic that I love very much, so I can do circles around it. Food for me is so huge because it plays a major part in how we function as a people. And when I say function, I'm not necessarily limiting it to how we feel or the health impact of eating good. I'm also talking about how you feel in your spirit, how you relate to others, how you're able to go about your day and not be grumpy, not be miserable. So because food plays such a significant role in that, it's something that I absolutely love. For those who know me, wellness is what I do. I leave health to healthcare professionals, but wellness is what I do. And there is a difference between health and wellness. Just as a reminder, health is a state of your body, wellness is a state of your being. And so I do want to start with a disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor. There is a medical doctor by the name of Saran, and she's actually on the live right now. Peace, Queen. How are you? And she has also just opened her business on June 1st. And I invite you guys, for those who are on Facebook, um, Saran King, please follow, get some more information of the services that she now offers at her business that's opened in, is it Belmont? I don't remember exactly where, Queen, but like I said, you can follow her for those who are in Antigua. Um, you love to eat, but you don't like cooking for long periods either. Absolutely, I get that. So now let's talk a bit about Bath Lodge. Yes, it's located in Bath Lodge, people. And for those on Zoom, if you want her information, you can always reach out to me on WhatsApp and I can send you her contact details. Okay, so yes, yes, Dr. King, I get it. There is a lot of convenience around having fast food. And when we think back to, well, I don't want to give away my age by saying this, but when I think back to the days of my childhood, there was really no fast food. If they existed, it certainly wasn't in my circle. It's not something that we really saw until back in the day with what was that place called? Is it Minute Meal or something like that? uh, for those who are on the live, whether on Zoom or Facebook, and you're in Antigua, I think right at the corner where APUA now is on High Street, right there, that was a fast food restaurant. But because you were not always in town back in them days, we didn't move around as freely as we do now. So the influence of fast food when I was younger was very, very insignificant. I was raised, yes, minute meal indeed. Minute meal, and then there was another one on the opposite side of Kernan there. Um, what was it? I don't remember the name. And then later on, there was Nook and that type of thing. But yeah, the impact back then was very, very insignificant. And so for that reason, I grew up on food. We grew up on your mother preparing food every day. That was the norm. And even though there might have been the use of not the healthiest options, because back then it was about financial resources and really using things that were not really ideal. Of course, breads, everybody know, as Antiguans especially, bread is everything. Woe be unto us if we can't get flour in this country, because we're going to really act out because it's so significant, such a significant part of how we eat now, even in the past as well. So, for me, like I said, I was raised on food. And I remember that even when you reflect on your friends back then, everybody pretty much shared the same type of lifestyle. We would go and your little snacks would be the snacks that you buy at school, your ping pong and your things like that, ping pong and all them other stuff that we used to enjoy back in the day. But our exposure to sugar, our exposure to fast food and deep fried food, it was very, very limited. And when you look now, fast forward, we're older and wiser. You see the impact that our generation, or I should say, you see how we're now suffering as a people. And this is us being raised on healthy foods, healthier than fast foods. And so it is easy for us to conclude, therefore, that, we do need to pay attention to what we do in terms of how we raise our children, because we're now suffering and our foundation today is significantly better than the children who are coming up now. And so when I think about fast food or engineered food, I think about the corrupt side of it, and that's just what it is. It's not a conspiracy theory or anything like that. Foods were designed to get you hooked, because if you're not hooked, you will buy it once and that's it. And these companies really want repeat buyers. And so they have mastered a way of combining three things that we are very attached to and put all of those things together in one meal. And that's sugar, salt, and fat. So when we combine those three together, we recognize very quickly that you eat it, you love the taste of it. And of course, there are so many other things that we can get into in terms of why we love these foods. But those three combinations have made a significant difference to our attachment to them. And so when we look at, you know, what it is today, the food industry has really shifted. Back then with those things, we had the fries and things like that. However, it was not as bad as it is today. Let's just put it that way. The things that we used to get, you used to get a burger, but it was very simple. It was simple to everybody in terms of, it was simple. One moment there. I see a question. Got you. That was personal message anyhow. Um, Let me see. Okay. Zoom, y'all can hear me, right? So I'm sorry, I got strayed just a while ago. But the point that I was making, it was very simple. You went and got a burger, and it was the fast food people, they got mincemeat, they made the burger patty, they add this, they add that. So it was still, in a sense, very much made on the spot. And yes, it was quick for us to just go and pick it up, but it's a different ball game altogether today. Not many persons who offer fast food in terms of fries and things like that. Nobody really cutting potatoes anymore. We import those huge bag of fries, and we just assume that it's just potatoes, and that's so far from the truth. I grew up hearing my mother saying sugar, salt, and fat are the three killers, and she was right. Absolutely. And when you combine them, you definitely get an addiction to it because most times you're either addicted to sugar or you're addicted to salt. And when you put those two together and you couple it with fat, your senses are going to be heightened. And so you're really going to enjoy eating it. Blessings, Queen. How are you, sweetness? So when we think about food, the fast food, it's no longer fries in terms of, oh, the person just cut up fries. These fries are coming in bagged and they're not coming in being just potatoes anymore. That's the long and short of it. It's made that way, and you can taste the texture. You can taste the difference because I know, we make fries at home. When we make our fries at home, it never tastes like KFC's fries. Why is that? It's not that we can't do it right, because we sometimes believe that that's the right way. But it's not just potatoes. There are other things that are added to it, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on. So let's talk about when I think about fast food today, the sad part is I think my for adults I'm empathetic to it, but it really and truly breaks my heart when I think of the children. Gone are the days when running in the backyard to pick fruits from your grandmother's yard, your auntie yard, or whatever. That's no longer as commonplace as it should be. When you pass the Syrian restaurants that are now in every single village in Antigua, every village you go. The only place I think I haven't seen maybe Old Road, but on your way to Old Road, Bowlands and that side, you see them. And when you look inside, oftentimes at night, 8 o'clock when you're driving by, you see children on their little bikes, they're riding and they're going chicken and fries. And that's what's raising us, raising them. And we're already suffering as a people now, being raised on your rice and the different things that your parents used to prepare at home. It wasn't half as bad as what it is now. So imagine the impact 20 years down the line. And I just want to remind us that this generation is the only generation now that is predicted to not outlive their parents. And that's quite a significant blow. It's no longer a personal thing. It's not if you have children, it's not if you eat good in your house, it's a community issue. It's a country issue. It's major because the truth is, even if you choose to do the right thing, you have people in your family who are not going to. And you have to reconcile the fact that it has a significant impact on the medical system in your country. So you're going to be forced to pay more taxes. Why is it that everybody, dialysis, and I speak more from the Antiguan context now, dialysis services at the hospital now, it's constant. It's like a revolving door from one to the next, one to the next. And the major reasons for persons going there, twofold: diabetes and hypertension, lifestyle diseases. And until we can connect the dots between the food and our diseases that we have, we will always be wondering why. Why? It's significant. It's a cost for all of us. And for those in Antigua, let me just say, and I know this is a little off topic, but I have to go there because I think we need to be very aware of the things that we argue against. I remember when the government made a move to eradicate the use of styrofoam in the country. And, for me, it's like, oh, thank God, because I understand the dangers of using styrofoam, especially to put your hot fried foods in. You definitely compound the problem. However, when they did so, everywhere I went, anywhere that I went, people just arguing, all these paper cups and them paper plates and them fussing. You're literally arguing with somebody who is doing something to improve your life. And so I know prior to the whole past 2 years and where we have been for the last 2 years, the conversation was on increasing the taxes on sugary beverages, sodas, and things like that. And I just know the day that that becomes law, we're going to kick, we're going to scream, we're going to yell, and we're going to cuss from one hill to the next hill, not recognizing that you're actually arguing for something that will shorten your life. That's just what it is. It's it's mind blowing to me when I hear people argue for something that's poisonous. Picture you going somewhere and you hear people fussing for something that is detrimental. When we think about increased taxes on coke, man, y'all, thank God, knock on wood, that I'm not in government or I'm not in a position to pass policies that really impact us as a people, because we're so unaware that we literally need somebody else to save us from ourselves. We need somebody to save us from ourselves. And while they're doing that, we scream, we yell, we object, we fight, and we want to insist that we consistently remain being poisoned. It's really quite, yeah, it's very interesting when you watch humanity and our behaviors because of our attachment. And this isn't even an attachment to food. This is a container to put food in. And we were definitely adamant, oh, I don't know what nonsense policy that is. But if you took time to do the research, as we all should, and you recognize the connection between styrofoam and the decline of your health, you should co-sign that. I'm seeing a comment there. The oil used to fry foods are so low quality, cheap oil derived from GMO chemically grown and sprayed crops such as soybean, corn, safflower, and canola. I mean, to the mountaintop with that, Richard. Um, it's so horrible. It really is. And we know if you do any level of research at all, once you heat those fats or those oils to the levels that you have to heat it to in order to get things deep fried and the way we like it, you really have to pretty much conclude that you're eating plastic. That's essentially what it is. The soybean oil, every single oil on there, it shouldn't be in your kitchen cabinet. It really shouldn't. And for those who are in Antigua, and again, I apologize to persons who are watching elsewhere, but this is where I am, and I really love and care for my people. So I will often make referrals to us here. Do you realize that we now have coconut oil on the market at almost a comparable price to soy oil? And yet you still see soy oil just being moved off the shelf, move. So it's no longer a cost thing because we can do better where cost is concerned because, yeah, coconut oil is an option. But just the thought of, oh, I have to switch what I'm accustomed to, not knowing that what you're accustomed to is harmful and dangerous. Let me see the comments in the chat on Zoom. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who is that? Adrian? Yes, they definitely. That's the thing. We often hear it time and time again. Oh well, something have to kill me. They can't live forever. That type of thing. We use that to satisfy ourselves, to justify our behavior. The cognitive dissonance. Hello, people, it's time for you to at least acknowledge it when you're doing it. You would, oh, something have to kill you. I'm not one of the natural health people who, I'm not forcing people to eat better because you're never going to be sick. I don't sell a cure. Some persons in this realm, they tell you that, oh, you eat this and you cure that and that type of thing. I know that, in my opinion, this is just another extension of who we are. You understand? So we won't be here forever. But I'll tell you one thing I know for sure: eating well improves the quality of your life. It improves your wellness, your well-being. How do you go about your day? How do you feel in your physical body? It's not that you're never going to be sick, not that you're never going to die. I truly believe we're passing through. But my experience here should not be one that obligates me to fill a prescription every month, to be lining up at the hospital for dialysis. And these are things that we can reduce the likelihood of them happening to us by making better choices. And fast foods will absolutely shift you in a different direction. It will never assist you. Am I saying you should never ever eat fast food? Really and truly, I want to say yes. But the truth is, if you do, it should be a treat. Well, no, scratch that. This is how I refer to it. It should be a cheat, CH instead of TR, because we normally justify our things saying, oh, I'm just having a treat. It's not a treat if you know it's poisonous or it's bad for you and you're doing it to yourself. You treat yourself by loving on yourself, by eating well, by feeling good, raising your vibration and things like that. So it's not a treat, it's a cheat. And do I cheat? Yeah, sometimes I do. But you're not going to find me cheating every week. You're not finding me cheating every month and that type of thing. It should be occasional, but we have normalized it. Treat the cheating so much that every weekend it's a cheat. What did you do to justify rewarding yourself with bad food every weekend? We do it all the time out of custom. How many of us sit um, when you pass the what did you call them? The traditional stuff here, the y'all know what I'm talking about. Rice pudding. You see the rice pudding lines every weekend, and and people go there knowing that they're treating themselves. But you treated yourself every weekend. Last weekend, what did you do? You should be, I don't know. We just need to reevaluate the way in which we do things. And I'm looking at King's comment. That's true. Most of our dialysis patients stem from uncontrolled hypertension and diabetes. That's it. That's it. And the thing about it, when it comes to those lifestyle diseases, when let me let me dial back just a little bit. I think too often we relegate everything that takes place in our bodies to doctors. And this is not knocking doctors, but it's as if we can no longer think about our health and our wellness unless it comes through a white jacket. You know, we just think like we're completely powerless. Who's in your circle? All of us are suffering from the same set of issues. What are we doing in common? That's something that a layman can start to evaluate for themselves. You don't need an MD, need to even go to you don't even need to go to high school to think like that. Critically think about us as a people, as a collective. Okay, so all of us, when we get to here, I would probably say 35, hypertension, diabetes, and this is if we're lucky. Hypertension, diabetes, all of those things kick in. We don't live together. What are we doing? What are we doing as a people that's common? We all eat the same things. We all go to the same places, have the same food, and we have that in common. But unless the doctor tells you, oh, you need to stop eating such and such, we continue to do it without thinking that we have any power or any control over our experience in this body. You will know that you're sick before you go to the doctor. When you have hypertension, there are certain things that you experience first that you kind of shrug off because nobody just has their hands up wanting to go and visit the doctor knowing that you're not feeling your best because we're afraid of getting bad news. But when we think of the words lifestyle diseases, we need to remember very clearly your lifestyle is not a permanent state of being. The way in which you eat is a choice. And when you do any research on diabetes, on hypertension, you will realize that it's the contributing factor is our diet, the way in which we eat. And so when we think about lifestyle diseases, as long as you hear, oh, I have a lifestyle disease, rather than just embracing it, telling yourself, okay, I'm going to have to do this in terms of taking medication for the rest of my life, how about you try to adjust your lifestyle? Look at what may have caused you to end up where you are and shift out of it. I think all of the households here in Antigua, we have one person who eats very different from everybody else. When we say, oh, such and such run in my family, run in your family the way y'all eat, the way y'all prepare foods. And I shouldn't say you all because there's no judgment. Us, we eat the same thing. We cook the same way. We love the same set of things. And that's why you don't wear a jacket. Yeah, nobody knows your body more than you. And there are different things that I often talk about in terms of our bodies and the way we feel and things like that we just relegate to somebody else. Let me see what else is. I see plenty comments coming in here. Yeah, ask about our symptoms. Yes, we give away our power and deductive reasoning and don't assess how our foods contribute to our ill feelings. Absolutely. I'm there with you, Adrian. Absolutely correct. It's as if we have ourselves in little compartments. So what you eat is over what you do in terms of how you process your stress levels, that's here. Um, the way in which you eat, that's here. The way in which you feel, as if we're all, all kind of disconnected entities. When in fact, it all works in tandem together. It always does. And we just don't think of it that way. You think that, what did you think caused the hypertensive issues that we have? Didn't just come out of the blue, not because your mommy had it or your grandmother had it and things like that. We just embrace these things as if we have no power, we have no control over lifestyle diseases. It's your lifestyle. It literally says it in the name, lifestyle, and you have a choice. I know some persons who are fruitarians. Certainly, they were not raised on just fruits, but they chose to change their lifestyle. I'm not saying that's what we should do, but what I'm saying is that we all have a choice. Growing up in the same family, everybody used to eat one way or whatever, and then pop up, somebody turns Rasta, the person is a vegan, and things like that. So we all have a choice. How you pivot and how you move to eradicate or even prevent lifestyle diseases is really and truly up to us. Persons don't listen to our bodies enough. The body gives you clues always, absolutely. And not only that, we have adjusted the way we look at our symptoms to the point where a symptom presents itself, and the first thing we want to do is get rid of the symptom, not really recognizing why the symptom is there to begin with. We just want to get rid of the feeling, not fix the problem, just get rid of the feeling. As long as you feel good, everything can be breaking down inside. It's a-okay. It's a-okay. The symptoms are there to help you. What if you were sick and you had absolutely no clue? You felt awesome every day. And then one day you go for a physical and it's all hell broke loose now. The symptoms are there to help you. Um, Sharon, thank you for your contribution. Even if you're on medication, it doesn't mean that you have to be on it for life. You can reduce your dependency with lifestyle changes. Now, y'all hear good, right? This is Saran Davis. That is Saran King. That's a medical doctor. And I think sometimes we discount other people. We discount them because, oh, what she know about this? What she know about that? And that type of thing. And, to each his own. You're going to do what works for you. And I will continue to do my divine work. Um, that's coming from a medical doctor. And the ironic thing is I often am baffled as to why there's always so much conflict between medical doctors and the alternative approaches. If the wellness of the people or the health of the people is supposed to be the focus, I don't ever understand the conflict. I don't get it. I don't get it. If we are helping to improve the quality and the standard of our lives, everybody can bring something to the table. The aromatherapist has something to offer, the massage therapist does too, but we tend to label the alternative. The people who talk about herbs, the people who talk about eating a particular way, we tend to label them as quacks. Why do we do that? Why? Why? It's of no detriment to entertain the possibility that you could actually learn something from the opposing side. But Saran, I just want to reiterate what you said. It's not a permanent status with a lifestyle disease. Yes, you can be on medication now. And it's not me who's saying that, it's the medical doctor do that. She said that. You understand? It's not a sense of permanence. But we look at it that way because we don't want to address the issues that are at hand. We don't want to address how we eat. Yes, there are some doctors that you go to and they don't talk about the impact of the food, but I would like to assume that a great proportion does. And so when the doctor tells you, okay, well, you can be on this for 3 months, try to cut out this and that, you don't try the other stuff that the doctor says because you want to continue this habit. So you're comfortable telling yourself, okay, well, I will just get another prescription in 3 months and just continue. But what are the impacts? What is the impact of on the body of just, continuing to do what caused you to be in the situation from the jump? I know this doesn't sound specific on fast food, but my work is really to awaken people's awareness. That is my job. And so let me see, how often should you talk about a total body detox? I think you mean how often should you do a total body detox? My recommendation is every quarter, and so that's plant power detox that I offer. I offer it quarterly. Yes, there are breakthrough ones that I do in between. Some persons may want to continue a little longer, or there might have been some persons who did not get into the cycle before. And so I have a few breakthrough, but my recommendation is every quarter. Every 3 months, working with the solstice is also a significant way. And also, this is not necessarily what I recommend from my experience point of view. This is what our ancestors did. There was focus and concentration on doing different work around the solstice. They recognized that you had to cleanse your body. First of all, for those who are on Facebook, how many, and for those on Zoom, let me see who on Zoom. I know Cynthia, Mariella, Petroline, Tamara. Hi, Tamara. I have to call you, love. So sorry I missed your call. Adrian, Brian. So we know that back in the day, every weekend, Friday night, it was laxative time. Saturday, it was laxative time. And you had either or. But hardly any of us could go a weekend being with our grandparents and not be forced to take a laxative because they understood the importance of eliminating. We no longer want to do that. We no longer want to do that. We want to continue to eat what we love, find our emotional satisfaction in the foods that we eat rather than doing things to foster that feeling. And fast food is comfortable. It feels it. You go and you get everything piping hot. You dip, dip, dip. Everybody has a dipper, whether it's some sort of dip or ketchup, and we dip, we have ourselves a good time. You have the crunch, again, you have the salt, you have the fat, and you have the sugar combined. Even the foods that are not sweet, they partner it with sugar because they understand what it will do to the brain. Those endorphins and the dopamine that's released in you, you're going to love it. It's like falling in love every time. But can we choose to fall in love with something that is actually beneficial to our bodies as opposed to, food that oftentimes we eat these things and we know they're bad for you. We know it's bad as we eat it going down. Yet we can't stop. And to that point, I want to say, now I do wellness coaching. I am very, very aware that we're addicted to these foods. Sometimes it's not that the person doesn't have discipline. You will notice that they're chemically dependent because the foods were created to do exactly that, to get you chemically dependent. And so it's tough. For some person, they're able to say, okay, well, I'm done with that because the doctor say I'm hypertensive. And so that chapter is closed for me and they can go on and eat healthy foods afterwards. Many of us struggle. So as much as I'm saying it, I do want to let you know that I understand. I understand you don't go to a coke man or a crackhead on the street and say, oh, you just need to stop, because we understand that there's a chemical dependency there. It's the same thing with our foods. It has been so tampered and so altered that it's no longer food. And so we're chemically dependent to these foods. When we look at the structure of our burgers, you have bleached white flour on top. You also have sugar in that. Okay? And for those who know what I do, you fully understand my position on white sugar, especially. And in fact, I can pretty much say, I think I can comfortably say this. The white foods, uh, you will hardly find any that's good for you. I remember attending a symposium for Ras Bobby years ago, and he said, nothing white good for you. And I laughed, but I had never actually thought about the fact that it's white sugar, white potatoes, white flour. We have done so much to foods to make them white, and most of them have no nutritional value for you. I see a question, where can we purchase your detox? Vivian, you can send me a direct message. We can definitely get that to you. If you're in Antigua, the next detox is in early July. We start then. If you're in the US, I can ship it to you as well. Um, yeah, it's going to fill up really quickly. So send me a direct message so that I can give you the information and we can get the process starting to get you on the list. Yeah. So Shamaria laughing, but it's serious now. It's serious, boy. We are so attached. It's Saran, you're saying it. Chemical dependence. So for those of us who eat better, it's almost like we get a God complex. Oh, you have hypertension, you this and you that. Why you don't stop? Not recognizing that everybody who does cocaine, they're not on the streets barefoot begging money. Some persons are able to deal with the use of certain drugs and function. Meanwhile, others struggle. They didn't know that they would be on the streets being vagrants and begging and things like they did not know. But that's that chemical dependence where you can no longer function. There's some persons who, they do their bout with drugs every month. Some persons do it when they travel and things like that, and then they're able to put it down and go back to life as usual. For some of us, the foods are the same way. We're able to say, okay, I'm done with that, and we move on. But yeah, others struggle. We really do. And until we remember that and stay in touch with our empathetic selves, we're always going to seem as if we're almost bullying them. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help them, and it doesn't help us to get our message across. And trust me when I tell you, I learned that the hard way. I learned it the hard way because, when you think, oh, all you need to do is, and you just simplify it, all you need to do is eat, bam, bam, bam. You need to cut out, bam, bam, bam. We simplify it. But until we recognize that chemical dependency, we're going to be in trouble. Anyhow, I'm talking on and on. I haven't really even looked at the notes of the things that I wanted to touch on, but I do want to bring our attention. Of course, we know the fried foods. Like I said, it's everywhere. Everywhere. And for those of us who are in Antigua, there's a lot of comfort, at least for me, being that I'm aware of the dangers of commercial fast food. I'm thankful that there are only Kentucky, Burger King, and Subway to contend with. I'm grateful for that. But let me tell you, those fast food companies are not staying where they were. They're not staying in the States anymore. The focus right now is on expanding outside of America. And when they come here, they're going to come They have the marketing down packed. They know what colors to use. They know what kind of sales to push in order to get you in the door. We're not obligated to go there. Now we have KFC, and that is bad in and of itself because our attachment as a people is more to KFC than the other two. But when you have the other ones coming in, and they will soon, our community is small, yes, but we will go and support, and they will have profitable businesses. And so when you think about where we are now, imagine 10 years from now. It's not going to be just the Syrians in the villages. When you have a Mickey D's coming in with all the specials and the promotions and the this and that, and they're able to produce their stuff for next to nothing because it pretty much costs nothing to make. So when it comes in now, you have yourself, okay, I have to buy something to eat. Do I support this local person who has the this and the that and whatever? Or do I go over there for this $10 special? We're going to go because we choose to think that if you pay little now, there's no consequence. But I always say you pay now or you pay later. And the truth is, eating healthy doesn't have to cost a lot. It costs a lot if you want to get extra, but eating healthy is the absence of bad foods. It's the absence of bad food. You're not forced to eat high-end stuff. You don't have to eat gluten-free pasta. You can actually choose not to eat pasta altogether. It's not mandatory. So you can shape your food to fit your budget. But at the same time, we need to get out of the mindset of scarcity and lack. Food to sustain yourself, I think it's definitely worth the investment. We need to go back to nature, the key of life. You have said it, Mandika. That's it. And if we notice, the further away we stray from nature, the more we line up in the fast food restaurant lines, we're getting sicker as a people. And we're wondering, oh, where all this cancer coming from? Where all this coming from? Everybody has a hormonal issue now. Where do we think those things are coming from? The significant part of what we do in common that causes us all to suffer the same ailments is that we eat the same. We eat the same foods. I feel I can do without. Oh no, let me not skip that one. Expanding poisons. Absolutely, Abina. Highly functioning. It's a hard life. I can feel I can do for the most part the whites. But I have the attachment to food, Shamara, to sweets. That sugar it's a beast. It's a beast. And they understand that very, very well. And even when we examine the sweets, we have to bear in mind that we're not just contending. And for those in the Caribbean, please know that we're not talking about sugar the way we make sugar or the way we were familiarized with sugar. This is not cane sugar we're talking about. Comes from a genetically modified, the beets. That's what it comes from. So it's not the same cane sugar that we grew up on. Now, when you go to the supermarket, do we realize that when you go to the supermarket, an average supermarket in the States has 75% of all of the products there with added sugar? 75%. And believe you me, there's no difference here. When you think about mayonnaise, nobody's thinking about that as a sweet food. It is. Look, sugar, ketchup, sugar. Sometimes you will even like tomato paste, sugar, everything. Tomato sauce, sugar. If it's not sugar, it's the devil version of it, the high fructose corn syrup. We almost never think about those things as sweet food. Oh, I don't really use sugar, because you're thinking about adding sugar to your tea or using sugar in your juice and things like that. But we're not thinking about that so much of the things that we like have sugar in it. You go, if you're going plant based and you go and you buy a can of beans, again, the partnership, they're very aware of what they're doing. It's a savory food, but it has sugar in it because it pairs well together. It pairs well together. They know it's gonna trigger the right sensors in the body. So they, and the thing is, when you think about it, like I say, I'm not even referring to my notes that I had on fast food, but when you think about it, the energy behind food manipulation is so, I don't know a nicer word to use than dangerous. That it's not like they're just randomly, you see us here in Antigua, we're making stuff, so you just make your little product and you put it out. No, these people invest millions of dollars annually to come up with ways of getting you addicted to the foods. And it's not just, okay, let me see how this tastes and that kind of thing. They're literally using MRI machines studying the brain's reaction to these foods. And so they're only contented when they see all the stimulation that they know will cause you to get hooked. So it's not no pretense. It's not, they're not playing with us. They're doing their job, and we have relegated all of our trust to them. We're not doing any due diligence. We're not doing anything. As long as it's in the shelf in the supermarket, we comfort ourselves by telling ourselves it's food, and it doesn't qualify. The truth is, years ago, food was defined as something that offers you nutrition. And back in the 70s, they changed that definition because they realized the snacks on the market didn't have nutritional benefit. And so now it's pretty much anything you eat. So that means if you go outside and grab a pile of dirt, essentially it's food because you're eating it. So it doesn't have to have a threshold of nutritional benefit and anything like that. Some of the potato chips that we have on the market is that we eat as snacks. Potato chips, I say. When you go to the lab and you test it, potatoes don't come up as an ingredient because it's so modified. There's so many fillers in the food that they can't even detect potatoes in some potato chips. And it's popular brands that we have trusted for years. And we continue every time we have our little get together on the beach, when we have our parties and stuff, you just see the brands just rolling in, poisoning ourselves over and over and over again, and thinking that the poison is just temporary. Lifestyle diseases is what we do. Well, we have to break those habits. Let me see. Psychological warfare on our minds, which leads to physical death. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I forgot to plug in my phone. One moment. One moment, people. Whoops. Alrighty, I think that's it. All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, we need to. I know I'm not focusing too much on fast foods, but it is our snacks. It's the things that we buy just on the side of the road. It's what we do. And how is it that Kentucky? How many locations do we have in Antigua now? Why do you think they're able to open second branches, third branches? Is it three? No, yeah, it's three. They're only doing it because it's profitable. Why is it profitable? Because we're going there. I remember working with a king, and he came in, his eyes were almost coming out of his head, how high his pressure was. And he said, yes, he's really, really struggling. And I kid you not, 2 days later, he was struggling with hypertension and he wanted to make a change. 2 days later, I met him with a box of KFC in his hand. And he is aware, that that is to his detriment. And yet, there he was 2 days later in KFC line, 3P special. We have to pay attention to what we do, people. Unconscious eating is the cause of our demise, oftentimes. Um, Sugar is used as a preservative and it's addictive. Absolutely. hmm Caribbean women have suffered from issues like fibroids, polycystic ovaries, and that is caused by the ingredients in the foods we buy from fast food establishments and the basic ingredients we purchase weekly to make our meals. Absolutely, absolutely. We have, when it comes to the issues of womb health or womb wellness, I mean, we are suffering as a people, suffering. I do a lot of products in for women and hormonal issues and things like that. And when I tell you those issues, so common, so very common. What is it that we're all doing now that we're all suffering from these things? Your cousin, your sisters, your this and your that. Right now it's what? From one statistic I heard the other day, it's two in three. Two in three have one of those issues. That's not, it's not something that we can overlook as a people. We cannot. It is a crisis. It is, at this point, a cause for immediate intervention. And woe and behold, if I had any sane policies here, my niece told me they would they would call a coup on me to get me out of here because it's as if we just don't recognize what we're doing to ourselves. And sometimes somebody else needs to save you from yourself. Plant your own food, start with containers if you don't have land space. I mean, Abina, talk the talk. It's very true. And even if you choose, okay, you don't want to grow anything, you don't have a green thumb, even your aloes that you have in your yard die, fine. We can make better choices. We can make better choices as a people. It's not KFC alone. And some of the places that you go to, and don't bother say, oh, I just go KFC for the corn and the stuff. Come out to KFC line. Come out to KFC line. There are other options that you can get. Not every day everybody has the time to prepare a dinner for themselves. We really should. But the reality is we don't. How you select your foods is still up to you. For the same cost of, I think most times now, food for those on the Antigua circuit, what, $20, $25 for a meal? One Stone is there, Queen's Royal Treat is there, Natural Liberty. There are other options. There are other options. And then if you have to consider, okay, am I going to go Kentucky or am I going to go support somebody who cooks regular local food, rice and something? As much as I never ever want to encourage that, I would say go that route before you stand up in KFC line. KFC, in my mind, it doesn't even qualify as food. What we eat from the regular restaurants is empty foods, white rice, your pastas, your everything is so refined that by the time it goes in the body, it pretty much just offers no fiber. It's just a glue to constipate you. But if I had to pick, I would still say go that route. At least with them, it starts from some sort of place of even energetically. When I come home, KFC is my first stop, but change is coming. Yeah, And we have to ask ourselves why, you know. Everybody say, oh, the Kentucky and Antigua tastes so much better. First of all, it tastes better, but is the recipe different? No. Nothing here. It's not like we seasoning food more here. It's not even up to us to contribute to the taste. So all of that decision in terms of the tasting better is not made by an Antiguan. No. And do you think that if they have something good in America, do you think they're sending better to us? Real talk. Do you think we're getting better? For those, sometimes you go in the snack aisle in the supermarket and you see export only, not to be sold in the US. When I see that, I mean, I am so disrespected. Do we really think that they're sending better here? They're already in problems with the people up there. They already don't care about their own, but they're going to create a product that's perhaps better for us. How? Why? When? That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And we even, and I know, like I said, I'm drifting kind of off topic, but I do have to talk about the fact that the majority, at least I know when I go in the supermarkets, you will often see me with things that I don't eat, that I never intend to buy in my hand. But I'm just checking on ingredients, I'm checking on labels and things like that. When I go into the aisle for the baby formulas, why? Why? Can anybody explain to me a proper reason why almost all of this, the similar, no, I'm not calling names, all of the formulas pretty much say not to be sold in the US? Why? Why? Because they love us more. So they're going to put together better ingredients for us and things like that. I know that can be true in some countries because some countries ban certain ingredients. But this whole notion of getting comfortable saying that it's not to be sold in the US, and we don't think about that. Snacks, sometimes you go and it's loud on the front of the package not to be sold in the US because they love and they care for us more, right? The awareness is what we need to awaken. Um, Export only means ingredients in the said products are banned. Hmm. That's exactly what it is. Now, there are some countries that are deliberate at protecting their citizens because they understand the long-term impact on their healthcare system. And so they will ban different things. The McDonald's that are served in Japan isn't the McDonald's that you get in the States. It's a lot better because the country has guidelines. You can't sell this yellow number, that and stuff. You can't find them things in certain countries because they have standards. Do we have standards here? I am very grateful for the fact that we have made some strides in terms of preventing, limiting our use of certain things. And I'm waiting for us to increase the cost on Coca-Cola and Pepsi and stuff, and we're gonna fuss. We're gonna fuss. Left to me, one Coke would be $20. Go and buy something else. Buy something else because you can no longer justify, oh, it's cheap. I want it to be so high that we cannot afford it. That's the truth. Go and buy the local juice that the woman selling outside. Go get the ginger beer, go get the passion fruit juice if you have to have sugar. And I'm completely off topic now. Let me just talk about briefly the sugar content. Until we can look at sugar as a poison, right? We are just not thinking about food realistically. Now, remember, in the past, cocaine was actually legal. That's where Coca-Cola coined the name Coca-Cola. People used to you could buy cocaine products. And then there was a push in I think 1903, 1904, thereabout. And that's when, there was argument against it and there was a push to make it a narcotic. And once they did that, then the companies had to respond by pulling it from their ingredient list. And then, of course, we know Coca-Cola just say, okay, no more cocaine. Let's just throw a whole bunch of caffeine in there. They're going to get hooked anyway. And we have been on that kick. But let's consider the fact that the medical community, their recommendation in the US and most of the larger countries, they recommend no more than 6 to 7 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's, to me, excessive already. But let's go with the 6 that they recommend, 6 to 7, right? When we look at some of the things that we normally eat, and some of them we actually think they're healthy. When we think about the amount of sugar that's in most of them, it's so problematic. Like, why are we not thinking? All of us should really have disease if you're eating typically. All of us should be hypertensive if we're eating typically, unless you're made aware, or if you tap into your consciousness and tell yourself, no, this just not adding up. We all should be. Now, let me go over some of our popular drinks or popular products that we eat here. So some persons will say, oh, well, I try to eat healthy. I start my day with granola, the granola cereal and stuff. That averages now between 3 to 4 teaspoons of sugar for one serving, a small bowl, right? This is the granola. This is the healthy stuff, right? And just since I'm on cereal, let me just say to the teachers who teach primary school and preschool, my hats will forever go off to you, because I don't know how you do it. I don't know how we can justify waking our children up every morning and giving them the kind of things that I've seen on the shelf. You're literally seeing cereal with chocolate in it. And you feed that to break the child's fast. And then you get them dressed in their uniform and say, okay, go ahead now. And the teachers have to contend with that. You send them out to the door high. And then when you get calls about misbehavior, we're not thinking about what we're doing. It's not them. The child doesn't have an issue, but they're high. How do you behave when you're drunk? Not normal. Not normal. You have drugged the child up. Some of the stuff I see, all the different pink, blue, you just give them pretty much, cotton candy in milk and tell them, okay, you're finished now? Good. Get dressed, and you send them to the school. And the teachers have hell. If we had to take care of children high on sugar and we recognized it for what it was, we wouldn't do it. But we do this kind of thing and we send it because it's somebody else's problem. We need to stop. There's no way we can justify that. No, this is granola being 3 to 4 teaspoons, right? 3 to 4. Imagine what them things. Just imagine. And the thing about it too, when you look at the labels on these products, you will notice sometimes the trickery never ends. It never ends because you're looking for the serving size. Sometimes the serving size is so small, like who would consider that a serving size? But they can't tell you the rightful serving size, because if you're looking there, you're probably going to leave it on the shelf, as we should. So you're thinking maybe it's a bowl full of this cereal that has that amount of sugar, not knowing that it's this amount or that amount. There's so much trickery. And so my thing is, if you have to do all that examination, you have to pull out your phone, you have to see, okay, what chemical is this? What's the impact? Leave it on the shelf. Just leave it there. Food shouldn't be difficult. It should not be that difficult. And what we're doing to our children is a disservice. And we're doing it with love. That's the painful part. We're doing it with love. Nobody goes to the supermarket and think, okay, let me just pick things to poison my children. We don't. That is not our nature. But one, we buy things that are inexpensive, and sometimes we don't, because Doritos and things like that, I don't consider those things cheap. I don't, because fruits at the side of the road for $5 a bag, but we don't consider that food. And we don't think that if we wash that and we cut it up and we put it in a container, we can send it as a snack to school, because you want your children's snack to look like their friend's snack. Guavas, Doms, all those things that this mean, some things we can actually get for free. So when you look at $5 at the side of the road, you get more than one serving for that. So $2.50 justify Doritos for me. We can't. But it's comfortable. And it's habitual at this point. Don't talk about those vendors. Oh my gosh, selling over the fence at the schools. I tell you, combination of milk and sugar is alcohol. Sherry and louder again for them in the back. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And again, I know sometimes I'll get fired up a little bit, so it almost comes across as if it's there is no judgment from me, because I understand it's addiction, and it's also mindlessness. You just go to the supermarket, this is what you're accustomed to buying, and this you just do it out of habit. Because when your child comes home and every cold that's in the air, your child catches it, you're not thinking that maybe it's the food. Because even when you take it to the doctor, nobody's telling you, hey, ease off of the snacks. Maybe you should do more fruits instead of snacks. No, we hardly have those conversations. And everybody is doing it. So if you and your sister buying the same snacks for your children, you're not going to think you're doing anything wrong. Nobody, it takes somebody to wake up and spread the message. We need to do better, people. I know now I was on the granola, orange juice. Okay, the typical orange juice, 4 teaspoons of sugar. Okay, Coke, 13.5 teaspoons of sugar for Coke. And some people I know every day. Now, remember the recommendation based on the medical community, 6 to 7 teaspoons, and the one drink, 13.5. So you already use up 2.5 days supply of sugar allowance on one drink. And then you go and you eat bread the same day. You have some sort of snack. You might have a set of cookies at the end of the day, piece of chocolate. We're not thinking. We're just doing things out of habit. And we're trusting companies with our bodies that have never, ever earned our trust. Have you ever had like a neighbor move in next to you or something, and they say, oh, hi, I just moved in, come over for some dinner. First thing you wonder, is that person clean? What kind of food she cook? Can she cook? We have a whole bunch of questions, right? And in some ways, they're all justifiable. But the companies that don't come from Antigua, it doesn't come from the Caribbean either, come from where we don't know nothing about. They put together a nice little package and they put it on the shelf, and we just, food. They automatically qualify. There is no questioning. Go to the supermarket and watch the behavior of people as they shop. Watch, observe it. I delight in doing that, actually. Majority of us, we just go and we just select. We just take things up. Nobody turns a product around anymore. The front of the product is entertainment, people. Entertainment. It's supposed to look good. It's supposed to say natural, even if there's no natural product in it. It's supposed to do that in the front. The front is entertainment. The information is at the back. And we all have that ability to turn it around. In fact, you can even get apps on your phone right now that you can use to scan, and they will tell you what this ingredient means and all that. And the truth is, it shouldn't be that difficult. If you don't recognize it, leave it on the shelf. Leave it on the shelf. Leave it for somebody else. And the supermarkets here will stop importing them. We don't want it because we are valuing ourselves enough to refuse. Not my money. Not today, not next week, not the week after that. I'm not buying it. Simple. But like I said, our attachment and our addiction leads us to go back time and time again. Now, I was saying 13 and a half teaspoon in the Coca-Cola, right? Baked beans. Baked beans, now remember, this is a serving size, so it's not like it's talking about the entire can. Baked beans, 5 teaspoons. Your flavored water, I don't see them on the market as much as before, when everybody was like, oh, flavored water. Flavored water, 8 teaspoons of sugar. Flavored water. And remember back in the day when everybody was on this flavored water thing, it was as if, oh, it's almost like healthy. We're thinking it's infused water when it's flavored water. No, not the same thing, not at all, not in the same field. Dangerous. 8 teaspoons of sugar in flavored water. And when you drink it, you don't taste the sweetness. The sweetness isn't profound. So you will think, oh, it's just a little bit. But that's what your body is receiving, 8 teaspoons. Okay, for those who like you do your peanut butter sandwich and things like that, bear in mind that the jam that you're going to put on there, we all know it's sweet. You're talking 12 teaspoons of sugar for a sandwich. 12. So, in fact, instead of us wondering, why is it that so many of us have diabetes and hypertension, we should actually be wondering, how is it that all of us don't have it if we're eating like that? Because the medical guidelines, 6, that one piece of that one half a sandwich with the jam, you already maxed out 2 days. And it's not even taking into account the sugar that's in the bread. And then some of us put it with the peanut butter as well. It's not taking into account that. And then, if you're having that, you have to drink something with it because we no longer want our saliva to do its natural work. Everybody think that if you're eating something, you must have juice or something to wash it down. That's what your saliva is for. But we will have our juice, and remember, even the orange juice, and it might very well be one that says organic or say natural or say non-GMO or whatever. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. It's still going to give you that hit of sugar. Red Bull. 7 to 8 teaspoons of sugar. How many of us know, again, 6 is the recommendation, which to me is a little much. 6 to 7. And 1 Red Bull. Sometimes you see people just down Red Bull like if it's tonic. We eat as if them things are tonic. It's strengthening or nourishing you. And it's doing the opposite. We really shouldn't be wondering why so many of us have diabetes. We should be wondering, how is it that I avoided it eating that way? That's really what it should be. Minute Maid. Okay? Minute Maid for 8 ounces. Not for the entire 6, because sometimes they come in the 16-ounce bottle, and so not for the whole 16 ounce. For 8 ounces, you're looking at 8 teaspoons of sugar. The recommendation is 6 in a whole day. Just the Minute Maid. So that's it. That's it for the day. You already tapped in tomorrow's source. Capri Sun. Now, children again, Capri Sun is 5 teaspoons, 4.5. Some places tell you it's 4.5. 4.5 to 5 teaspoons. That's all the sugar your child should be having for the day. And it has nothing to do with everything else that they will eat. Remember, even if you say it's, or I give them chips for snack, remember the chips have sugar in it. So it's not whether or not it's savory or if it tastes sweet. Because all of our sweet foods have sugar in it. Them snacks. Doritos, you might get a spicy Dorito, it's salty and it's spicy, but it has sugar in there. The tongue controls the mind. The mind should condition and train the tongue. Real talk. Real talk. Glucose, fructose, dextrose are all sugars. And that's another thing to note. When you look at the ingredients list, you sometimes may not see the word sugar. When you see them other things, you know what time it is. It's the same thing. And then alternatively, you might see the devil cousin, which is high fructose corn syrup. They're not playing with us. They're not playing with us. And the things that we have normalized in the Caribbean, I'll talk about us. And when people go out, I don't drink, so please forgive me. I call everything rum. But I often hear people say, oh, rum and coke, that's their thing. That's their thing. Sugar and sugar. And, that's on top of what you would have eaten for the entire day. And some persons don't have one. So the way in which we socialize, the way in which we unwind after a hard day's work or a hard week at work, or some of us, we look forward to the end of the month to go and relax. And we do so by poisoning ourselves. Poisoning. But, so it is. Oh yeah, Red Bull and alcohol, the perfect heart attack. And we can all remember the song, right? We know the song. I'm not even big in dancehall, but I know the first time I heard, I'm drinking rum and Red Bull. I said, my gosh, up and a downer together. Out to here you go. Out to here you go. Because some of us, especially when we have an expression that celebrates it, it becomes even more embedded in what we do. Yeah, we need to do better. We need to do better, people. So that's the definitely not the direction I intended the conversation to go, but we flow. We flow because that's what we do as divine women. Am I right? So I did want to touch on some of the expectations that we can have as long as we're lining up for, we're looking forward to getting our fill of, your burger and your fries, and then you have your dipping sauce, and then you have your whatever drink comes with it, or you're going the KFC route, you're doing your 3-piece combo with a large fries and a large juice and stuff. Our expectations should really be dire. The truth is, we have to combat the idea that it's normal. Yes, we're all positioned in this time for a reason, but the reality is I don't think that our creator ever envisioned that we'll be eating that. That's all man-made. Nothing about it is remotely close to nature. And the further away we stray, we're going to continue to pay. We're going to continue to pay. And now, bear in mind that even if you're eating well, even if you're eating nature-based foods, the way in which we stress ourselves, there are other things that we have to contend with. It's not just food. So some of us work really stressful jobs. Some of us are in toxic relationships, not just with our intimate partners, but our relationships with family members toxic. And so we're always in confrontation after confrontation. We're always in elevated, stressful environments. And you still put your body through that and then you eat that on top of it. Some of us should really be wondering, we should be thanking God that we're still here. Because oftentimes we're performing miracles daily and not even being aware. Sometimes it's a miracle. Now, for those in Antigua, I want to touch on the impact that it has on our children. I remember years ago, I was speaking to a teacher. She worked at Green Bay School. And I guess every once a year or whatever, you would have health day or something like that. And so the medical community would go down, the nurses and stuff, and they would be checking pressure. You realize that they packed the ambulances, packed. And when I say primary school, just as a frame of reference, everybody on the 10, 11. So anything between 5 and 11, and the ambulances left Green Bay School packed. Why? Because they're medically obligated. For once you have pressure numbers like that, there's no way you can let the person go. Children, 200 and something, over 100 children. They haven't even hit the curb yet where we were when we got those issues. Children, 7-year-olds. How many of us, if we really pay attention to what's happening to our children, we would know it is an emergency. Emergency, pre-diabetic, diabetic children, those are lifestyle diseases. How do you even reconcile that being on earth for 8 years and you're already suffering from a lifestyle disease? You haven't even started living. You haven't even started living yet, and you're already suffering from a lifestyle disease. I mean, like I said, it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. I'm certainly not sticking to the intention of the conversation, but this is what's coming up. We need to do better. We need to do better as a people. And this is just across the board. And let me just backtrack a little bit again and talk about those fruit juices. Because, a lot of people say, oh, I don't give my children sodas. Well, you give them fruit juices. You give them fruit juices. And I just want for us to think critically about everything that you do in your life. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that I need you to sit and do countless hours of research. But as you do things, as you take your shower, as you wash your dishes, think about different things. Think about what we do commonplace. The fruit juices. If there's rain coming, so I hope y'all will hear me over the rain on the roof. But think about us, especially if you grew up around fruit trees, you know that you can go outside, 2 mangoes will be on the tree, side by side, same tree, same branch. And you pick one, and this one's sweet, but by the time you eat the second one, it's super, super sweet. Right? Or one might be watery and the other one banging with sugar. Right? That's how nature behaves. That's how nature behaves, Rain. So that's how nature behaves. There's no consistency, there's no uniformity across natural foods when we think about our fruits. However, when we go to the supermarket, when we pick up a Minute Maid, or we pick up a Fruta, for those in Antigua, and for those in Barbados like Adrian, especially since it's a Bajan brand. Anyhow, I always call us out because those are the ones that we use so much. There are other ones on the shelf that are really popular, but those are You know. So when you pick up your Minute Maid orange juice, how is it that every time you pick up that orange juice, or every time you pick up that Fruta orange juice, it always tastes the same? If you have a juicer at home, you can buy 100 oranges, and it doesn't matter how many times you juice them. You will never ever get a consistent flavor. One time is going to be a little bit watery, the other time is going to be super sweet. There's going to be variation because that's nature. There are variances. These Minute Maid and Fruta, you know what to expect every time. How are they able to maintain that taste? How? By using chemicals. Chemicals. And it's right there on top of the stuff. It's right there. It's set, but they code it so well that we have no reason to question it because it says natural flavors. Okay, tell me where you pick some of that natural flavor. Where you pick them up from? Where you buy them? I want a bundle of natural flavors. We can't purchase it. It's chemicals. That's how they're able to ensure that every time you go and buy that Minute Maid, it tastes the same. Consistency. Nature doesn't behave like that. Fruits don't behave like that naturally. It does not. Does not. And those additives keep us addicted, people. Yeah. So even if you're contending with the sugar, there are other things that you still have to wonder, okay, what is the impact of these other ingredients on my body? Concentrated juice is no good, yeah, because they have additives that keep chemical balances in check to taste the same every time. That's correct. You know what to expect. You're never gonna get it and say, oh, this watery today, or this extra sweet. It's always gonna be consistent. And they're only able to maintain that consistency through chemicals. So even as much as you shy away from sodas, and I applaud that step, but just recognize that the fruit juices, oftentimes they're just literally a step above, just a step. What do I recommend? I recommend that we go back to the days of making your own juice. It's not that difficult. And even if you keep it the same set of stuff, get some lemon, get some lime, and do lemonade for your children, it'll be all the better for it. If you need sugar, use that. One day, the lemonade going to be a little sour than usual. It might have a little bit more tang, but you know what's in you know what you're giving to your child. You know. Anyhow, as you can tell, I'm super passionate about this topic. So I often have to remind myself to dial back in. But these are some of the things that there was something that I wanted to make sure. For those in the States, please recognize that your Big Mac has 75 ingredients. 75. Just think about that. We all know, at least we have a fair understanding as to how you make bread. Basic bread, when you think about it, okay, you know, maybe 4, 5, 6 ingredients tops. How do we get to 75 ingredients? How? We need to do better, people. We need to do better. Because the consequence is, and the sad thing is, for our community, pretty often we have limited resources, and we keep handing those resources over to billion-dollar companies who clearly have no integrity, or they don't care about you. You're just a number. You're just a number. And we continually do that. We don't build our communities. We hand over the limited amount that we have to those people. And we do it here in Antigua too. We hand it over freely. Why is it that The Syrians are able to open up a restaurant in the villages every 2 weeks. Everywhere you look now, there's a business, and then right attached to that, it's cutting 50 different pieces, and there's a shawarma shop. They wouldn't be doing it if we weren't buying it. Chicken and fries. Chicken and fries. We grew up on rice, fish, vegetables. We grew up on that. That's a typical dinner back in the day. Some persons, it would be chicken, the protein may change, but or it might be some sort of potato salad and something. That's what we had. And now, in my generation, there's hardly anybody who's not hypertensive or diabetic. So you tell me what our expectation should be if chicken and fries raising our 7-year-olds. Chicken and fries. What's going to be the outcome 20 years from now? And 20 years from now is really pushing it. Chicken and fries. You see them pedaling on the little bike going, chicken and fries. And then they want the extra, load it up with the mayonnaise. Lord, I don't know. When I see they put the mayonnaise on top of the fried chicken, then they put the ketchup, and then they want hot sauce. Yeah, that's what we're doing, unconscious eating. And the reality is our children are going there to buy because we give them the resources to do so. It still comes back to us. Anyhow, so some of the things that we should naturally, and oh boy, there's a lot going on Zoom. I gotta catch up with fast food. Most fast food is frozen twice, so it's killed twice. You are absolutely right with that. Let me see. Tomorrow, one of my co-workers, a Rasta, says he knows a lot about eating good, but yet still saying there is good soy and bad soy. I said to him, soy is soy. And he argued with you. Tomorrow, I know the thing. I know what that is like. And, yeah, we comfort ourselves. We comfort ourselves with a lot of, we have to justify our behavior. And so we do so by saying, oh, all of them not the same, and we this and we that and whatever. People will never understand until they join your program. Oh, thank you, Tamara. Pasteurization kills the fruit. Yes, it does. Concentrated juice is no good. So I know I definitely don't want to leave us without any hope, because the truth is, as much as this is what I believe, I am very optimistic about us as a people. And it's not just because I see a significant shift in our behavior, but I recognize who we come from. I recognize the resilient people who gave birth to us. Once you have that in your DNA, then I will forever be optimistic. We're very resilient. And sometimes it takes a particular shift in mindset to activate those powers from the past. But I am always optimistic about us. So here are a few things that we could do. Fast food in your face. But there are other places in your face as well. And I speak directly to the persons here in Antigua. KFC is not the only place that offers fast food. And when you really look at it, you have to wait a long time in the line, don't you? So how about you support, let's say, Roti King? You need something to eat urgently. It doesn't have to be deep fried foods. It doesn't have to be that. We have a choice. We have a choice, and we can choose to do better. But it starts with awareness. And for those who are already on the path to doing better and you want to bring others along with you, don't do what I did. Don't act as if, Oh, I got the answer. Let me just here, let me give it to you. Just take this and do this, and all your answers. Don't do that. Sometimes the louder you get with that type of language, the least they hear you, the less they hear you. It's as if it almost silences your voice. But we do so by being each other's comrades. You know, okay, instead of doing that, let's do this. How about this? How about that? And we can all do so much more as a people. And I speak again in the context of Antigua. How many Capri Sun you see in the baskets every single week? Okay, let's say, okay, a family, a lot of children here. Um, let the auntie do juice this week. Or you understand? We have to get back to that community spirit where we're able to do things, assist each other with the time. You know, not every time you're going to have time to go home and make tamarind juice or to make ginger beer every night. Sometimes we don't have the time, but perhaps your sister has the time. Perhaps your cousin. Say, hey, look, how much I used to spend on the Capri Sun, I'm willing to give that to you this week. Just provide some local juice for my children, please. We can do better. We can. Nobody obligated. And the thing about the beauty about this time that we're coming out of, when we see the shortages on the market of certain things. The other day I heard people saying, oh, you know, see noodles short. There's a shortage on noodles. You know, it's an alarm. But what happens if the Capri Sun can't come in here? What are you going to do? We have access to ginger, we have access to turmeric, we have access to raspberry. When you pass people raspberry tree, all the raspberry on the ground. Go and beg for some. Bag them up and give whoever in your family who can make local juice. Tell them, hey, look, I need some assistance because I need to be better for my child or for my children. And you have them assist you on that journey. And added to that, like I said, there are other options. We don't have to buy into that for convenience. Here in Antigua, there are a lot of options in the daytime for more plant-based foods if that's the route you're desirous to go in. And if not, you can certainly get fungi and fish with some greens. You can eat like that. Nobody forcing you to join Kentucky Line. We're choosing. And we have to choose better because every single bite has an impact in the body. Every bite. So it's an hour and 42 minutes. But there's so much more that I wanted to share. But I think soya is not good. It causes hormonal imbalance as it's genetically modified. We just talk a little about soy just because I know in the plant-based community, there are a lot of people who push the tofu, push the chunks, push all the, you know, the full meats and alternative meats and all that kind of stuff. Again, we need to go back to that community-driven energy where we no longer think that, you know, the brands in this. First of all, for those who are eating the plant-based burger patties, I don't know how y'all afford that and then say this and you can't do that. No, you have to, those are over $40. Almost every time I look at them, I don't intend to buy them because I know if I can't make a lentil patty, somebody for me can. Especially when you tell them, hey, look, I'll give you $20, I'll give you the ingredients, make some patties for me now. And you take that patty and you put and you make your burger. When was that made in the supermarket? When was it created? So long ago. Remember, it's not made by a neighboring island. This is coming from the States. You understand? Probably made months on top of months ago. There's nothing fresh about that. Nothing fresh about it, and there's really no value nutritionally for us. Anyhow, I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to remind us that with diabetes, especially blindness, amputation, just the constant suffering, really. It's one of those diseases that you don't really want to wish it on an enemy because it's so uncomfortable. It takes you so far away from being well in your body. It really does. The numbness in your hands, the aches here, there's so much that comes with it. So it's not like, oh, you just get diabetes and you just take your medication and you don't feel it. You feel it every day, a lot of times. You feel it. The amputation and all that kind of stuff, the irritability, all that comes with the territory. Do remember that the medications have side effects as well. Oftentimes, it's the insomnia, the irritability, and things like that. Like the doctor said, it's not like you have to stay on the medication forever as long as you're willing to make other changes. And the other changes are worth it. It's worth it in the long run because you enjoy this existence, as we all should. It's not the quantity of days, it's the quality of your days. Alzheimer's, irritability, increased likelihood of heart disease, heart attack, stroke, obesity, anxiety. And that's another one that's huge now. Everybody has panic attacks, anxiety. Let's try and connect the dots. So many chemicals that we have no idea what it's doing in the body. May I suggest to you that we consider that perhaps those type of things are contributing factors, the fast food. And it's also said that if you eat, and this is for those in the States, if you eat out at the fast food restaurants once every day for 1 week or more, if it's your pattern, you increase the likelihood of having a heart attack by 20%. 20%. I'm seeing the other stuff, GERD, acid reflux. I mean, we are suffering to the point where we no longer even think of it as discomfort. We just go about our day. Every night you have to sit up in your bed because acid floating here, because you ate all acid all day. You're literally on fire. You are on fire, and no amount of water or what you call the things that you throw in the water, Alka-Seltzer or whatever the names are, that you can't get no peace from it until you correct the problem. But constipation, all of that, it comes with the territory. Most fast foods are completely void of fiber. So what's going to move the waste out if it doesn't have fiber? It's just going to sit in you and rot. And also, do remember that the fast foods, the food on the shelf, or well, I should say on your table, it doesn't easily decay. It doesn't want to break down. It doesn't want to break down outside of the body. What is it going to do when it comes inside of you? Filled with so much preservative, it does not want to break down. Foreign preservatives, things that your body can't recognize. It doesn't know how to eliminate that. It's a fight. And then when you tell people about detoxing, it's like, oh, my body naturally detoxes. Yes, but we're bombarded with so many unnatural things, whether it is that we eat this way or it's environmental. Anyhow, it contributes so much to the obesity crisis that we also have. Queens on the call, for those, I just want to remind us that if your waist in inches, it's over 38 inches, not what my opinion is. And it's not like I'm somebody who pushes a particular size. But if your waist is over 38 inches, you are predisposing yourself to heart issues. It's not cool anymore. And we can try and use the waist trainers and that kind of thing to create a particular silhouette. Your body doesn't understand silhouette. So even if it looks good by societal standards, it still is what it is. And I appeal to you. Um, yeah, we just have to do better. And I do recognize, again, let me reiterate, chemical addiction. Oftentimes that's what we're condemning. We like that crunch. We like the endorphins and the love hormones. Who don't love to feel in love? Who doesn't love that? We all do. And when we get that from food, sometimes we're not getting it from people around us. So it feels good. So we want to sign up for that every opportunity we get. And do remember that the crackheads on the street, the difference between them and you, scratch that. The difference between them and us is the fact that our drugs are legal. We can just willy-nilly go in the supermarket up, no judgment. Anyhow, I want to thank you for joining. There's a lot more that I wanted to say, especially the contribution to it, to diabetes, to depression and things like that, which, it's a common conversation now. Because when it comes to the anxiety, the depression, the panic attacks, it's at an all-time high. But I need to bid you guys farewell tonight. I hope you will join me next week, same time, 6 o'clock. I haven't even took a sip of my tea today. I have dandelion root brewed right here. I want to thank you for joining me. My closing remarks, don't beat yourself up, but recognize the need for change. We have to do better. The thing is, it's not going to change unless we make certain steps. We have to decide and make a conscious decision to do better. It's not going to come from outside in. It has to start with you. I want to thank you all for your contribution on Facebook and on Zoom. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Next week, I will announce the topic for next week, but I'm now looking back and see people talking about Chick-fil-A. Yes, all of them coming soon, my girl. And when we do, Lord have mercy on us. That's all I'm going to say. In America, it's so easy, so accessible. Everything, you can just pick your phone up. You can pick your phone up and just have a plethora of poisons served to you in the comfort of your house. Here, we still have to go and buy it. But, that the comfort and the ease come in, where we can stay at home. I don't feel like cooking today. And then you have your pizza, your this and your that, things that, our great grandparents must be wondering what in the world is wrong with that generation. They must be wondering that. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody for joining. Peace and blessings to you. I had my solar return on Wednesday. And for those on Facebook, I cannot express enough how floored I was of the outpouring of love and the birthday wishes on my page. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you. We need to connect. I tried calling you last week. We'll connect in the week. I'll call you tomorrow. Peace and blessings, everybody. Thank you so much for staying with me this long. I know it's a lengthy one, but we have to do better. And whereas, statistics and numbers are really good, I think my duty, or my assignment in this time is not necessarily to impart statistics, but it's to connect with people on a one-on-one way so that I can influence change. And every time I do a session, I'm always just hoping and praying for one person, that the words that I might have used might have been insightful enough to motivate some change in a positive direction. Anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. I'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place. Thank you, Nicolette. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you. And I will see you next Sunday. I will announce as per usual. And just for the record, for those who are still on the call, let me give you all a little heads up. Y'all remember last week I had 4 queens on the panel and how fire it was. I mean, I got calls from that show so much. Y'all really enjoyed it. Guess what, people? Y'all heard I already said part 2 is coming with the queens. Definitely look out for that. But guess what? I got the kings coming too. So we are gonna have the insight, the wisdom of the kings. So I am certainly excited about that show. I think their perspective is an overlooked perspective. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And trust me when I tell it, I won't be fired too. All right, peace and blessings, everybody. Have a blessed night. Have a powerful week. For those in Antigua and for those in the Caribbean, you know, tomorrow is a holiday. Do right by yourself. I know we gather together. Please, nobody just line up for poison. Okay. Take your water with you. Drink water. Drink some sort of natural food. Stop with the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi. Leave that on the shelf, please, and thank you. Go home and make some ginger beer if you need sweet juice. All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow. If you're going to the beach, stay safe. Peace and blessings. Good night. Bye. Zoomers.